Thanks for coming by today and checking out the video. I want to show you a new plugin that Korneff sent over for me to check out. This is the Sitral Klangfilter W295. That is a mouthful. Basically, it's based on a fancy pants, old vintage German broadcast EQ, this W295. And there's few different versions of it in here, 3 different versions in the plugin, and I thought, hey, let's just take a look at this. They kind of sent this over to me at the right time because I don't normally get excited about EQs. EQs for me are usually pretty utilitarian, but last month when I was down at Lucky Man Studios in Auburn and I was playing around with the massive passive they had, the analog massive passive, it was the first time I really was kind of digging what an EQ was doing. And so I'm kind of on a quest right now looking for EQs that maybe are a little special and that maybe I have overlooked in the past. I'm not sure that this is going to fall into that kind of category for me, but it's kind of a cool little thing. So this EQ to me is really all about the mid-range. There's basically 3 filters on here. We've got a high and a low shelf on every version of this, and then there is kind of a mid-range thing. So with the 3 different EQ models that are on here, so we've got the W295, and then we can also do the 295A. When we go to the 295A, that mid-band switches to like a tilt kind of filter, and then the 295B gives us a little more. Well, I'll show you. If we go, let's go back over to the 295, and this is just basically a straight up mid-range boosting filter. And one of the things that I like that they added on here is you can open up this analyzer and you can kind of see what's going on. So if I boost with this, you can just see, I mean, it's just a mid-range filter, and it's pretty gentle, pretty wide. I mean, just, with a little bit of boost there, you could just see how crazy wide that is. If I jump over to the 295B and start boosting with it, this is a little different, and we can also cut on the 295B. Now, one of the things you might have noticed with this filter is as you add to it, it gets narrower. To me, it reminds me of like API style EQs. I don't generally care for API style EQs though. I've never gotten them. Like I know some people do, but this still stays pretty wide, which is kind of nice. But you know what? Let's stop talking. Let's just put it on some guitars, because when I think about something that is really a mid-range focus, guitars to me is like the obvious place to try it out. So I'm going to go to the factory default. Something else on here that I want to point out that I really like is the controls. You can have them as variable. Like in the original unit, they were stepped. So you were kind of fixed in terms of the values. And I know I've talked about this in other videos about other plugins. That drives me nuts in plugins to have it stepped. A lot of times the reason that those EQs were stepped back in the day was just a limitation of the technology at the time. There are also contexts where having stepped controls on analog processing, it makes sense, because if you need to do recalls, you can nail the recall. But when we're all digital with plugins, it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it drives me nuts. So I love that you can actually have variable control here with the equalizer. So let's just play this. I've got a guitar here, and I'm just going to try and dial some stuff in on this. I turned off the EQ that was on here. I'm just going to do it all with this Sitral Klangfilter. The name is too long. I'm sorry. It's too long. It's W295, whatever. Let's play around with this a little bit. All right, so this guitar to begin with is a little dark for me. It's right on the edge, though, of being kind of bright. And I think this will be a good test because we can kind of see what this does. There is an auto gain circuit in here that actually works pretty good. I'm going to turn that on. I think that sounds better. What about this other guitar? Let's see. Here, let's go back to the factory default on this. Turn that off. We'll turn on the auto gain. So I'll just turn on both of these guitars now and toggle this EQ in and out on both of these inputs. Put it in the mix. I think it just helps give them more definition. It works. It's an EQ. I like this. I am probably going to use this on guitars a bunch because it just kind of works, and that's what I like. Now, one of the other things with Korneff that we get here is we can really tweak these under the hood. Oh, these transformers aren't even on. Here, let's turn these on. Might as well go for the full analog experience. So now... What about on this one? Oh. Okay, wasn't expecting that. That actually, that's kind of cool. Okay. Oh, see, okay. I have mixed feelings about this kind of stuff under the hood because this is a level of tweakiness that I don't necessarily like to dig into a lot of the time. I just like putting stuff on and having it work. I think the key to this kind of stuff, at least for me, is to get something dialed in and then save it and have that as a preset. So it's almost like I've kind of created my own hardware version of things. And that was kind of cool. Here, let me put this on in the context and I'll turn these EQs on and off now. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. Fun stuff you can do with these if you really want to play around. The other thing that they do in here is this component tolerance. Maybe the best way to show this is if I turn on the analyzer. What basically that does, actually, since this is a mono instance, maybe it's not going to show it. Let me find someplace. Here, let's just put one on this keys real quick. So if I have a stereo instance on here and we do some boosting, for example, if I adjust that component tolerance, oh, it's not doing it. Anyways, what that component tolerance should do is it should give us a little bit more of that kind of analog difference between two channels, because no two analog devices are exactly alike. So by changing the component tolerance, we can get things feeling a little different left to right. In one of the earlier versions they had sent me, you could see the difference in the analyzer, and I'm not seeing that now. Not sure why. Anyways, that's the Korneff, the Sitral Klangfilter. That name is so long. Wow. W295. Check it out. Go play with it. Try it out for yourself. They've got demos of this stuff. It's just a cool little EQ. I think this is going to be on a lot of my guitars going forward. So check it out. Have you played with this? Are there things that you have found in here that you really dig? Let me know. I would love to hear about it, because I'm still exploring this and figuring it out. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.